Hello technicians, welcome to step 7. This is a big step, so we're going to break it down into parts. First, we're going to build all 4 legs. Then, we're going to work on this back set of legs. Remember, these are metal. These are A3, so they'll be in that A group where you had A12 and A7. These washers are needed in order to keep the robot running straight, and the step screw. Once again, for these steps, we've got all you need is a screwdriver and the clippers. If you'd like, the black step screw is pretty large, so maybe a large screwdriver could help too. So I've collected all the parts that we need for the legs. Here are the legs. They're B3. We've got A8, A6, two 2x6 millimeter screws, the foot, as well as a 3x8 millimeter flanged screw. So this is one, remember earlier before we said don't use these. Well, it's because you need these flanges to hold on these feet. For me, I like to put on A6 first, and then put on the feet, and then put A8 in last because it gives me a nice flat platform to screw things in. Okay, now you do this 4 more times. Just make sure this is tight. Those are on there nice and tight. See, they're flush. And that this is on the back. One thing I'd like to point out is make sure that this piece is on the bumpy side. See how we've got a non-bumpy side. Sometimes people put it on the wrong side. And of course, the feet go through the one with the hole. Okay? And this one stops in there. So it stops early, so you'll know that that's the one you need to do. Now that I have all 4 legs done, we'll move on to the bottom half of step 7. Let's work on the back legs and putting those on. Of course, we've got the legs. We've got the long spacer. Here's that shaft. Here's the A3 and the A1. And of course, the robot. This is an exploded view. So first thing we do is put this in here. Then we're going to put A3 on, and I suggest working on one side and then the other. So this could be a little tight to put on, so just push a little harder. Now this is where you need that spacer, the long spacer in there. I don't know if you can see this. I'll go up really close. You can see how the diameter of the spacer is bigger than the diameter of the shaft. That's going to be important later on when we put on the hooks. So then I put this on. And this is going to be a little slippery to put on, so sometimes I just push it down into the table. Okay. So we've got one on. Let's work on the second one. We do need a little space in here because that's where the hook's going to go. Other than that, this looks pretty good. Nice and wobbly. We like that. Here are the parts we have for the front legs. We have the step screw. We have the washer, and of course the legs. And most importantly, the grease. Please don't eat the grease. I'm going to start with crank hole 1 to put both of my legs in. I take the step screw, I put it into the hole. Okay, I rotate that over, and I put the washer right there. The washer is important because it's going to keep the hook that you'll see later on this point. I put it in hole 1. Then I push and I screw. And while I'm screwing, I'm watching to see it tighten down. Some technicians try to screw it beyond this thread right here, and you want it to stop at the thread. You want to have this area here for the hook to put on. So don't try to screw this down till it's tight, because if you think about it, you want it to be a little loose, you want it to run. As you can see, we're only going to go to right about here. Okay? So that also helps when you have the washer there, because you're not going to screw past where the washer can get into. So now you can see we've got 2 in here. They're nice and loose. The last part of the assembly is to put on the wire cover right here. We'll need 2 2x6 millimeter screws and the cover. Now we're going to install this last bit. Now it's got some ridges here that we want to put down. Go down like that. What this does is it protects the wires from coming out. Okay, now we're ready for our check. Back's on. All these are on. The spacers are on because those can be left off. A3s are in the correct spot. These are loose. When I look through here, I can't see any of this shaft. Now on the front, I've got a washer on each one. I'm in the same crank hole. In this case, for me, it's 1 for this build. And I've got the black screws in.